Yo, what's good? It's your boy Oouchie, and this one right here is strictly for the parents. Not your kids, not the ungrateful generation, you. Because a lot of y'all raised kids. Those kids are grown now, and they're hurting, they're anxious, they're angry, they're confused. And your response is, I did the best I could. They just need to get over it. They had food and clothes. What more do they want? Nah, we not doing that today. Today, we talking about parental accountability. Because whether you like it or not, you are part of the reason your child is the way they are. Let me make this real clear. You admitting your mistakes is not just about saying, I'm sorry. It's about giving your child the context they need to understand why they think the way they think, why they react the way they react, why they struggle with certain emotions and relationships. When you own your BS, you're not just clearing your conscience. You're handing your child the blueprint to their own emotional wiring. That's the difference between them guessing what's wrong with them and actually knowing what they're healing from. Let me break it down like this. Imagine your child is a patient and life is the doctor. When you go to the doctor, they ask, what's your medical history? Any surgeries? Any conditions? Any diseases in your family? Why? Because without history, the doctor cannot diagnose you correctly. Now picture this. The patient lies. Nope, never had anything wrong. Everything was fine growing up. Meanwhile, they had heart issues, asthma, surgery 2 years ago. The doctor gives them the wrong medicine, wrong dose, wrong treatment. Not because the doctor is dumb, but because the information was incomplete. Parents, that's some of y'all. When you say, our house was normal, you had a good childhood, you're just sensitive, while ignoring the yelling, the cheating, the drinking, the depression, the constant drama. You are that patient lying on the form. Now your child is in their 20s, 30s, sitting in therapy like, I don't know why I'm like this. And they're trying to fix anxiety, anger, trust issues with half the story because you won't tell the truth about what really went on. Then you turn around and say, why you always like this? Why you can't just be happy? Why you can't just get over it? Because they're trying to heal wounds you won't even admit exist. Let's stop being vague. If this stings a little, maybe it's hitting where it needs to. 1. Emotional unavailability. You never hugged your kid. Never told them, I love you for real. Never said, I'm proud of you, unless it was attached to a grade, a game, or a performance. Everything was, you got food, clothes, a roof, what else you want? Now that child is grown and doesn't trust love, thinks people always got an angle, runs from closeness or clings too hard, and you call them dramatic or needy. Accountability would sound like, I was emotionally shut down. Nobody was emotionally there for me, so I didn't know how to show up for you. That one sentence helps them stop thinking, I'm unlovable, and start realizing I was underloved. 2. Favoritism and comparison. Some of y'all had a favorite, and everybody in that house knew it. You said stuff like, why can't you be more like your sister? Your brother never gave me this much trouble. You weren't motivating them. You were wounding them. Now that grown child overachieves and still feels like a failure. Chases validation from jobs, social media, relationships. Deep down always feels second place. Owning it sounds like, I did treat your sibling better. I made you feel like the problem. That was wrong. You have any idea what it would mean for them to hear it wasn't all in your head? 3. Control disguised as parenting. Some of y'all didn't guide your kids, you ruled them. Everything was my house, my rules. As long as you under my roof, because I said so. You shut down their opinions. You punished questions. You equated obedience with love. Now as adults, they either can't stand authority or they fall into controlling friendships and relationships because that's what love felt like. Real accountability sounds like, I controlled you out of fear, not love. I didn't know how to guide you, so I tried to own you. That helps them see it wasn't that I was broken, the environment was. 4. Addiction and financial chaos. If you were always drunk, high, or irresponsible with money. Lights cut off, eviction notices, cops at the house, constant screaming about bills. Don't act shocked when your grown child panics over money, overworks like crazy, or avoids responsibility because it reminds them of chaos. Being real sounds like, I did have a problem. You lived in survival mode because of my choices. Now their anxiety isn't just them being dramatic. It's a logical reaction to growing up in instability. Let's be honest. Most parents' version of accountability is trash. I'm sorry you feel that way. I did my best, so that's that. My parents did worse, and I survived. That's not accountability. That's PR. That's spin. Real accountability sounds like, I did hurt you in these ways. I minimized what you went through. I cared more about being right than being honest. I was not the emotional parent you needed me to be. And you don't follow it with, but you were bad too. But you did this. No, when it's your turn, it's your turn. You're not doing this so your child can hold it over your head forever. You're doing it so they finally have the full picture and can stop blaming themselves for everything. Let me say this as plain as I can. Your child's healing might start with your honesty, but it will not wait on your permission. They will try to heal with or without you. The question is, are you going to make it easier by telling the truth or harder by pretending nothing happened? You owe them the truth, not because you're the villain, but because you were the environment they grew up in. Their anxiety isn't random. Their trust issues aren't random. Their relationship patterns aren't random. You can't undo the past, but you can stop gaslighting them about it. So, if you're a parent watching this, ask yourself, am I more focused on protecting my image or helping my child finally heal? If that question makes you uncomfortable, that's probably exactly where you need to start. If you're a parent and you're actually willing to be real about this, drop a comment. Hit like, subscribe to the Oouchie and Friends podcast, and you already know. It's your boy Oouchie saying the things everybody's thinking but scared to say out loud.
So don't watch now, watch me show. So don't watch now, watch me show. 007 on the beat like James Bond. Super high like eyes low like Cheech and Chong. Footprint big on the roof, King Kong.